Boom, guys, we're back. Listen, we're going to talk about what separates someone from being good and what separates someone from being great. That's it. All right, let's get into it straight away. No fuss, no bullshit. All right, listen, here's an experiment for you. If you had to pick, you have a group of 100 people, okay? 100 people. You have a group of 100 people, okay? And you have to pick a certain amount of people, right? Let's say 10. Let's say 1, then it makes it 1%, right? That makes it cool. So it makes it hip. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you've seen the top 1%. Disappear for 1 month and do this, right? Whatever. If you had to pick one person out of that, what would you look for in order for them to be, in order to recognize if they could be great or not? What would you look for? I'll give you a second. I know, and I'll give you the answer in a second. But listen. When I was back in the military, right? I served in the military for 6 years. Many of you know this. I went to Special Forces training. And I had this question. I asked myself this question because I was in a very privileged position of being able to go through a certain amount of pain and be in the position where I was learning all this amazing stuff. And I'm so grateful that I learned all this stuff and that I met all these amazing people. If any one of you are watching this right now, God bless you. Really appreciate you, everything I learned from you. And I asked myself this question, and people weren't that, animated by this question. Maybe not as me, But the question was like, why was I there? Why was I there at all? Why was I not somewhere else? Why was I able to be there? I asked myself that because it's somewhere to be that it's not easy to do, right? It's a very difficult thing to do. So I was like, well, hey. What is it that's in me that allows me to do this? And what is it that it's in all of us, our squad, everyone who's there? What is it that we can do that most people cannot? And I asked myself that, and I never got an answer for it. And by random, I asked myself the same question yesterday when I was walking home from the city. I asked myself the same question. Now, of course, these days, I know a lot more of the world. I've seen a lot more of the world. I've seen I met with a lot of entrepreneurs. I've trained with a lot of entrepreneurs. I know I've seen more of the world, different stuff. So I'm able to answer this question and ask myself this question in a broader way, in a broader spectrum, because it's not just about special forces training. And so for this example, right? Let's do this example, because I had this conversation with my friend of mine, because I was very curious about this, right? And he's a master at sales. And so we got to the conclusion that if you want to be great at something, that one skill, and for this, if you were to look at what this one person needed to have in order to be great, the one thing you need is stress tolerance. Stress tolerance. That's the one common denominator that separates good from great. In this day and age, right, we have information so readily available. Anyone can get good at something. You can choose. You can literally pick anything, whether that be making birdhouses or recording amazing YouTube videos, whatever it is. I'm trying to look around for examples right now, but I have building skyscrapers. Yeah, that's a good one. Whatever it is, you can be good at it. Because you have so much information, you have all these tools out there for actually how to become good. Now, in order to become great, stress tolerance, being able to take upon you more stress than other people, that's gonna do a lot for you. And just by realizing that, I found out exactly why, I was able to do the Special Forces selection. Why I was able to go through the training. Because it's not muscle, right? Because if it was muscle, it would just be bodybuilders in there. And it's not the smartest, because then it would just be all these geeks in there, right? But it's not just geeks. It's a different kind of geek, but it is what it is, right? It is the people who have the higher stress tolerance. Because you put on your backpack and it hurts a lot, but then you have all these things on your mind. Hey, when we get there, we have to do this, we have to crawl through this, and there's always stress. Your enemy is behind you. This, that. And so you take all this stress, and it's how you manage it, how calm you're under the pressure. So, for example, for something like sales, right? because my friend is a salesman, and it's like, hey, I've been knocking 15 doors. I can't pay my rent now. That stress that you have, how do you manage it? Well, you go and knock more doors, right? So you manage that stress. While most people who are good, right? People who are good, they can't handle that. They can't handle the pressure that's in here, the stress that goes on, the uncertainty. Hey, I haven't made any commissions today, right? And so they quit. And that's the same. It's the same with the special forces selection, right? I know more about the special forces selection than the sales though, but because it's like you go to special forces selection and there's all these stuff on the mind. Hey, oh my God, the instructor said this. Oh my God, I'm on the back foot. I was almost there, guys. I was almost there. When during like the final week, we were doing all this walking with our backpacks, and I was at the very, very bottom, very far back from the pack, and I was so close to just throwing in the towel, so close. I don't know why I did. I made these checkpoints along the way, and I was like, yeah, can we go one more? Yeah, okay, we went there. We go one more. Yeah, we went there. Go one more. So I split it up like that. That's a big technique, by the way. The stress of being like, oh my God, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. There's all these factors, the stress that comes into your mind. It's how you deal, how you manage that really separates you. That's the only thing. It's a common denominator. And then, because like many people will probably see this and be like, well, yeah, it's not just that. You can't just be good at handling stress and then just good at anything. No, of course. But like I said, if you had to pick one person out of these 100 to become great at anything, then stress tolerance would be the best and most precise thing to look for in order to be great. Because if you have high stress tolerance and you can learn something, then you can take that to an unimaginable level. Just like you can teach any soldier to be good, but if they have a higher stress tolerance, you can teach them to be great. You can put more stuff on them. You can put heavier loads in the backpack so their backs hurt more. And while their backs hurt more, you can give them more orders. Like a salesman, for example. I can only give this example, right? You can tell them that, hey, you have to manage this sales team. For example, that's more stress. Now you're taking up the stress of all these other people. For example, I've never ran a sales team, so I don't know, but I use these examples. But and you can just extrapolate this into anything, taking upon you more stress, and that extends you further, right? The guy who has a whole sales team has to have a lot more stress, but he's going to be better, right? Obviously, you don't put an idiot there. Just like you don't give extra stress to soldiers who can't handle it. And so you see that the separation is there. The separation is there who can manage the stress that is given to them. And when it comes to like life in general, life for this, if you want to have quality, you're gonna have, like, the more stress you can take on, the better. Relationships is stress. Money is stress. Family is stress. And being able to absorb all that input, stay clear on your mission with all that stress, that's going to do a lot for you. That's going to do so much for you. I swear to God. Stress tolerance is the biggest thing. The biggest thing that you can ever develop. And I'm going to tell you how to develop it too. Okay? There's techniques for this. How to develop high stress tolerance. And it's not going to be something that you're going to like. But essentially, it's just exposure therapy. End of story, right? You should probably click off this video right now and go and, get yourself under some stress. Exposure to stress, the only way to learn stress. There's no hacks, no gimmicks, no nothing. You can't purchase it, which is why this is such an amazing thing, because it really separates anyone. Like, it really separates people. Like if we didn't have that to separate it, then there wouldn't be like levels. It would just be good. End of story, right? Or you can just get more information, apply it, boom, you're right. But since we have that stress and the stress tolerance, that's a factor. Now we can see who's really great and who's really good. And it's an amazing thing. Never be ashamed of wanting to be better, guys. Never be ashamed of it. I know a lot of you guys watch my videos, you young guys. Never be ashamed. Never apologize for going out there and trying to be great. You don't have to apologize for that. It's completely legal. Who's going to arrest you, huh? Who's going to arrest you? Tell me, right? Because, I might have to barricade my doors, because I'm fucking awesome. But anyways, I don't think the handcuffs would fit anyways. But anyways, right? But disregard that. you have to have good stress tolerance, right? And like a great way of going about this is to get into stuff like sales, like fighting, like going to the gym, and not doing the average. Guys, why are we doing the average? Why we set our standards so low? If we really want to be great, then first of all, we have to set higher standards, and higher standards are going to require higher stress tolerance. But if we set a higher standard for what we want, right? Higher stress tolerance, more stress, higher standard up here. Okay, that higher standards right here, more stress. If we then lower the standards, we don't get that. We don't get the stress tolerance. That doesn't follow. That's only at the top. That's only with the high standards. That's when you get the stress tolerance. You don't get it down here. So the first step to all this is setting a higher standard for ourselves. It's, hey, like I like to use sales examples because it really is an amazing thing. The first standard is, hey, for example, for this, hey, I like the normal is doing like knocking like 10 doors a day. I'm gonna go out there and knock 20. Now we have somewhere to actually start adopting this, because first of all, we probably only have the same time as the guy who's knocking 10 doors, and so we have to do 20. Hey, we have to up our skill. So everything, as long as we just raise our standards, we get higher stress tolerance because of all these factors going to play. Time, the skill, we have to practice our script, whatever. For something along the lines of a military thing, it's just usually more higher stress tolerance is put on leaders, right? Because they have to manage all these things. So for like a squad leader, it's like, hey, we have to do this, all these things to think about. And really, when it comes to like being a squad leader and that, it's like higher standards is correlated with stress tolerance. Because it's always been like, hey, we can do better. And then you see this as you go further down, it's like the we can do better part, it just diminishes. And you see that the correlation between high standards and high stress tolerance. And so just chasing high stress tolerance by itself is very difficult. That's why I'm explaining this to you. It's like, hey, go out there and build stress tolerance. Okay, what the hell do I do, right? Well, you raise your standards. That's what you do. Next time you go in the gym, you're gonna do way more. You're gonna be there longer than everyone else. You're gonna be there longer than that one guy who looks like a douchebag. You have that guy in the gym probably. You're gonna be there longer than him. And you don't care how long that has to be. Because you set a higher standard for yourself. Hey, I'm gonna be here longer. I'm gonna do more work. I'm gonna do more work than this, right? Whatever way you can find to raise your standards, that's gonna end up in you developing that stress tolerance, because you have all these factors that's gonna come in, and you're gonna have to deal with. So that's really, really good on how to become great. It's just about raising your standards essentially. But you need to like apply it properly. It's such a easy thing to see. Once you rise to the standards for quite a while, you see that, hey, this isn't that difficult. And why isn't that difficult? Well, because you have a higher stress tolerance now. You can take on more work. You're comfortable with that, and so you keep growing just like that. But it's not that you can keep doing the normal and expect any results. You gotta do something differently. You have to. You have to do something differently. Whether that be somewhere it's like you knock X amount more doors, or where it's somewhere like you are able to go the distance, like a special forces selection. There's always going to be more work to do. And so, in the end, this all comes down to how much work are you willing to put in. And it's all just comes back to like stress. Life is stress, guys. Come on. What are we talking about here? Life is stress. Anyone who says otherwise is lazy. But it's very interesting. Because you learn this too when you start on the entrepreneurial path and start doing stuff. And because you learn that sales and stuff, it's just taking stress away from people. Like any good entrepreneur they understand that, hey, if I can just take away more stress, that's first of all, that's helping. Sales, guys, is helping. That's one thing. It really is. Sales is not something you do to like try and get money from people. It's to help people. That's what we're doing, right? That's what I do. I help people. I take stress away from them. That's a part of that helping. And it works wonders, right? It works wonders. Because that's what we're doing. And you see that like with people who like have big companies, right? They have to manage all this stuff. They have to manage everything. They have all these stress, all these inputs that come in. Hey, we have to fix this. And it's not like you have to be that on that path all the time. It's not like it's gonna be like stress forever, but it's like a muscle, the stress tolerance. Like you raise your standards, you work towards those standards for quite some time. Now we've become stronger, because you can imagine like once you've built this thing, or once you pass the special forces selection, once you've done all that, then you don't have the stress of that anymore. And so this, by not doing this, by not raising our standards and trying to develop this, we're actually just shooting ourselves in the foot, because then everything will be difficult. But if we go through this, and if we go through the motions, we go through the actions that this requires, then we will see that everything becomes easy in the end. Everything will become easy. And I'm just so grateful that I could do this in a very, in a way where I could just be told what to do, essentially, which essentially is what I'm doing right now to do. I'm telling you, they go out and do this. But I was in the military, and so I was in a position where it's like, okay, well, we have to do this, because that's like an order. So I just developed this as a part of it. But it's not just like you get to be told and then you just go through the motions. You have to kind of have the realization too, hey, I'm at this level now. I used to be here. Because I've seen a lot of people, they all go through the same motions as me, and they don't develop the higher stress tolerance. You kind of have to realize that, hey, we're setting the standard, you have to develop that higher standard too. That's something I learned back in the Special Forces. By just being around them. I didn't have that much back in the conventional forces. But I learned that, hey, there's always stuff to do, There's always, better. And that was really, really a catalyst for me, to start that. And that's what I want to share with you guys. Just that, hey, there's always more. Hey, there's always what's next. And that's going to do a lot for you. I swear to God, stress tolerance is what will get you there. It's the one thing, okay? Don't worry about anything else. Just worry about, hey, taking on more stress. See how much you can manage. Learn to manage it. Find ways. Find any way to manage it. And you'll see some amazing results, all right? Don't want to drag this on for too much longer. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, and God bless. Woo!